Hello folks, I'm back once again from southern Iran. On this channel you won't see glossy modern cars or shiny showroom machines. We focus on vehicles that were designed decades ago. Cars that should have disappeared by now, but refused to die. And the Iranian market is full of these survivors. If you are curious about cars from a completely different world, make sure to hit the subscribe button. I've already made an episode about the father of this car, but I realized this one never got the attention it truly deserved. So today, it gets its own spotlight. Because this car carries the DNA of two very different legends and tells a much bigger story than it looks like. Underneath, it has the heart and mechanical structure of the British Hillman Hunter. But on the outside it wears the body of the French Peugeot 405. The result is something completely unexpected. The Peugeot RD.
ما رامون خیلی دوست داری. بابا میگه توی صندوق عقب همه چیز جا میگیره. من و داداشم عقب ماشین راحت بازی میکنیم. مامانم آسون باش رانندگی میکنه. خلاصه بارا انقدر به ما خوش میگذره که همه جا به اون میدیم. حتی خونه عموینا که خیلی نزدیکه.
پژو ROA، خودرویی برای همه.
The Peugeot RD, later known as the ROA, was a breakthrough solution for Iran's car market. Production started in 1999, about 8 years after the Peugeot 405 first arrived in Iran. The purpose was simple. It was built for buyers who were tired of the aging Paycon or Hillman Hunter but still couldn't afford a Peugeot 405. The RD became that middle ground, a practical, affordable answer in a difficult market. Mechanically, this car is a true hybrid. It uses a 1.6-liter engine from the Hillman Avenger paired with the suspension and drivetrain of the Hunter, all wrapped inside a Peugeot 405 body shell. And just like that, the Peugeot 405 turns to a rear-wheel drive. In fact, RD literally stands for rear drive. I searched online to find a Peugeot RD and here it is. At first glance, the exterior looks just like the Peugeot 405 that IKCO produced for years, but there is one detail that sets the RD apart and makes it look closer to the international 405. That is this small section of the trunk right where the lock is located. That's the giveaway. It's how people can immediately recognize an RD from any other 405 on the streets. I won't dive too deep into the exterior, since I already have a full episode dedicated to the Peugeot 405. Instead, let's move inside. The interior takes you straight back to the late 90s and early 2000s. The dashboard has that familiar curved line on top, almost separating the center from the rest. The steering wheel is large and plain, typical of cars from this era. Right in the middle you see two rectangle-shaped vents and below them a small display showing the time and temperature. Below that there are the classic slider controls for the heater and cooler, and finally the audio system. It's a simple functional cabin, but stripped of the refinements you'd expect in a 405, and that's the essence of the RD, a budget version of a legend, built to survive, not to impress. As I was about to start the car, something unexpected happened. The owner quietly mentioned there was a fault in the starter mechanism. It happens every now and then, he said. Finally, after a few attempts, he managed to fire up the engine. Out of curiosity, I tried turning the steering wheel and immediately ordered my brain cells to stop. This version of the RD doesn't have hydraulic steering, so rotating the wheels while the car is standing still is no easy task. Since that car was not in a good operational condition, I contacted another owner who was about to sell his car. The moment I saw it, I knew it was in much better shape. It was a newer model equipped with hydraulic steering and air conditioning. The owner had clearly taken good care of it, and despite being more than 20 years old, it ran beautifully smooth. You rarely see such steady performance in a car this old. As I mentioned before, this version of the 405 is rear-wheel drive, and that alone gives it a completely different character. Rear-wheel drive brings its own rhythm, its own sense of adventure. Most sport cars share this layout. Cars like the Toyota GT or Ford Mustang. These cars are incredibly fun to drive, especially when you switch off the electronic stability control. That's when a strong engine can easily set you into a drift. Now the RD might not have the muscle of a Mustang, but trust me, even with its humble 1.6-liter engine, it can still surprise you. And here is the proof. Just so you know, these cars are all running their stock engines. Production of the Peugeot RD continued until 2006. After that, a revised version entered the market and stayed in production until 2012. IKCO worked to fix the RD's weak points. They added air conditioning, introduced hydraulic power steering, replaced the carbureted engine with fuel injection, and renamed the car from RD to ROA. Then they went even further, installing the XU7 engine under the hood, something neither Peugeot nor Hillman could have ever imagined. Back in 2005, a Peugeot RD cost about the same as a Pride and roughly half the price of a Peugeot 405. That was around $6,000 to $7,000. Today, depending on the model and condition, you can buy one for about $1,000 to $2,000. Alright guys, thanks for staying with me. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I'll see you very soon.